If you are being sold to and the person hasn't asked you any questions and they are just talking, they are not only a terrible salesperson, they're not invested in what you need.
Do not believe me when I tell you that we're good. Believe the people who've done business with us.
Welcome to enVisioning Success.
Hello, hello. Welcome back, boils and ghouls. This is not a Halloween episode, but it's gonna be, damn it. I just needed something interesting. If I can make Julia laugh in the open, it makes me happy. Winning! Anyway, I think you can probably tell Julia is my ride or die when it comes to this whole business thing, so we're here for it. Anywho, today we're going to be talking about the psychology of sales magnetism and making them ask to buy. So you're probably thinking somewhere in your head, if you've never had someone ask you to buy from you, wait, what? That can happen? Yeah, that can happen. So if you sell really well, you're not selling. What you're doing is helping. It's like the opposite of selling, okay? It's serving. So if you do a really, really good job in doing everything to not sell, but having a constructive conversation that perhaps follows a preordained path, but is, riddled with integrity and intrigue, and it's interesting and genuine, by the end of it, you're actually going to have someone ask you, well, cool, what's next? That's awesome. How do I buy it? Happens to me all the time. And I want it to happen to you all the time. So I remember the first time someone asked me, well, great, where do I sign? I nearly shit a brick because I was like, wait, what? It's that easy? Huh? What? Where's the hard part? And I kept trying to sell. I was like, oh, okay, well, anyway, we got to do this. And it's like, I didn't want to take yes for an answer. And I keep teasing my husband about this because, like, he'll get an easy yes out of me and he'll, like, keep campaigning and going hard and be like, no, we really need to do this thing. I said yes 5 minutes ago. I don't understand why you're still talking. Does that happen to you,
Julia? No, I get it. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see that I was dying of a coughing fit because this spring here in New England, and I am allergic to the world. So here we are.
That sucks. Well, please don't die. We would miss you.
But I will try. I will do my best.
Okay. So we talked about the end goal and how we really want people to say, hey, how can I buy from you? Or great, where do I sign? But here's the other thing that we didn't quite cover just yet. When someone asks you that, they're willing to pay you more.
Mm-hmm.
You want people to ask you how to buy. A, it's a lot less friction and stress for you. B, you get paid more. You get to negotiate with people if you happen to aim a little higher than you should and come down a little bit. It's two people who actually really want to work together, and then you can co-create a great solution. So we're in this particular episode, we're talking more about high-end selling or high-ticket sales, as some people would like to call that. This isn't necessarily as relevant to something like selling online things where there's no human involved. But there is an element of that where if you do such a good job with your marketing and deploying these principles, there's not going to be any friction when you say, hey, go to our website and get the thing. They'll be like, okay, no problem. Right. They're not asking, how do I buy? It's mapped out for them. So just please understand that these lessons will apply in that manner to that type of selling, but this is largely for the high ticket type of sales. Cool? Cool. So, of course, we have 5 actionable tips for you. Damn it, we need
crazy.
I need to have one of those little soundboards, with like the air horns or the...
Pew, pew, pew.
Thank you. Would that make the show annoying or better?
Could be both.
I was thinking also both. I was in a class earlier today. They were like doing like different sound effects, and one of them was like boing, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is lame. I kind of like it, so we'll see. Anyway, let's talk about these. So the first thing that I would strongly encourage you to think about, and I'll tell you about a recent sales call I had, offer something of value for free up front. It's the principle of reciprocity. So it naturally encourages customers to give something back. So the principle of reciprocity is you giving first, and then they want to give second. Also, what happens in you giving first is they've already received value from you and they kind of got a free sample.
Mm-hmm.
So that helps people to get to the whole wow factor of why they want to buy from you. Okay. It
Yes.
makes people want to do something. So on a recent call that I was having with a gentleman who needs some help with making a really huge business decision and wants to grow it and all this other stuff, we're having a conversation. It was not a selling conversation. It was a, how can I serve you? We started just having a nice casual conversation. He's a high D personality. If you ever listen to us talking about disc styles, that's what I mean. High D personality, no relationship building up front, but it kind of happens organically. So we're talking about this stuff and he's telling me all about what's going on. He's feeling more and more trust as the conversation goes on. I'm feeling more curious. I ask him good questions. Then I start to relate my observations. This was me giving value up front. I related my observations. Well, it sounds like you've got this, this, and this. And shoot, it sounds like you're kind of stuck, actually. And you really don't know which way to go. Am I right? He's like, yeah, that's exactly the problem. I'm completely stuck. I'm like, oh, well, I'm actually really good at helping people get unstuck. Let's talk about this. So we talked about it for a few more minutes and I gave him an epiphany, a free epiphany. Not 5 minutes later, he's like, okay, so what's it like to work with you? The buying question. I was like, yay, this is so fun. Not like, haha, I've got him, he's in my trap. It's more like, yay, this is fun, I get to help him. More ha 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 ha.
Insert evil Simpsons laugh.
I know. But like, when he asked me that, that's when the conversation started to get fun. I was like, well, I work with people in this way, and this is how I help them. How I would typically help them in your circumstance would be like this. And then he asked buying questions. Well, how much would that be? How much time would that take? And he was less concerned with money. He was more concerned with time. He's like, well, how much time would this take?
Mm-hmm.
And in his case, probably about 4 to 6 weeks, but I can't really say for sure. I think we can get really clear on this, and then we can do like a bigger marketing strategy for you later, but I have no idea what that is right now. And he's like, okay. Huh. Long, awkward pause that I never interrupt, by the way. Pro tip for you, that's 1A. When someone has a long, awkward pause, shut up. Let them have it because they're thinking. You can't see their thinking face, but let them have their thinking face. He came back and he's like, all right, let's do it. Just like that. And you know what?
Go ahead.
After all these years, I still get the big bug eyes of like, that was so easy.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say long, awkward pause is something I train our staff on about when we hire, because people are inclined to fill the awkward pause, but really we should not be the ones filling it. They should be the ones filling it. And it's the same in sales. The sign of a good salesperson is they actually don't do a lot of talking. And we've talked about this on the show before. We've talked about it personally. If you are being sold to and the person hasn't asked you any questions and they are just talking, they are not only a terrible salesperson, they're not invested in what you need. They're selling you a plug and play, whatever, versus if you are being sold to, if you're doing the majority of the talking, then they are most likely listening and figuring out a plan for you. And it's the same thing with hiring. So when you ask questions, the person probably needs time to think about it, which is fine. But then you, as the person interviewing, shouldn't be trying to fill that. And that's one of the things I train our staff on is just sit there and wait, and they will fill that time with something.
Yeah, it's true. People just need an opportunity to think. Actually, that makes me think of a sale that I made probably about 3 months ago. It was the same thing. And there were a lot of like awkward pauses in the conversation, a lot of them, to the point where it was actually starting to make me a little uncomfortable. And I called it out and I was like, I'm all about letting you have your pause, but I can't see your face because it was over the phone. I was like, is this your thinking face? Is this your skeptical face? What kind of face you got on right now? And they're like, no, this is my thinking face. I'm like, okay, cool. And then it actually became a joke throughout the rest of the conversation. Hang on, thinking face. Okay.
Right.
And they're like the most amazing clients ever. And now we have the joke of hang on, thinking face. And It's okay. So the takeaway for this one, don't lose the plot. Give something of value first. And just be organic.
Yes. Number 2 is authority and trust. Establish your brand as a trusted authority. As I always say, you need to show your expertise, that you actually know what you're talking about and you know what you're doing in your field and exactly in the area of what you're selling. And this increases customer confidence in making a purchase. And this goes back to, you're not trying to make a hard sell. You're trying to show that you know what you're talking about so that they are confident in purchasing from you. So we talked, I think it was last episode or the episode before, we talked about the need for trust in selling services and how important that is. And oftentimes services are a higher ticket item. And that really comes into play here, because if you're going to hire a corporate attorney, you have to really trust them. Really, really, really trust them. And so I also want to trust that they know what they're talking about, that they are up on all the current legal, changes, both state and federal, that they have our best interest at heart. They really want to learn about our business, etc. So showcasing that trust, especially when selling services, is hugely important.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You know, the whole authority and trust thing, I feel like you've done an excellent job for our clients in getting them to get more creative with the content and the stories that they tell. Like we talked about stories in one of the previous episodes. That's a great way to demonstrate your authority by constantly being a thought leader, not a thought follower. With most of my soul, I hate the phrase thought leader. But I actually do have to agree that it is the best term when you are at the forefront of an idea. And nowadays, what that means is being just rebellious and saying the damn thing that nobody else is saying, or taking what they call a hot take on something. Julia, what's a prevailing marketing opinion?
That you should post every day on Facebook.
Great. I happen to know Julia's hot take on this one is...
Absolutely not. Do not do that.
See, that's a
Don't
hot
just
take, and that's
post.
how you establish authority. Go ahead.
Right. Don't just post to post. You need to have strategy. You need to know your campaign. What is the purpose of what you're posting? Is it for brand recognition? Is it to create those evangelists? Are you trying to do a call to action? If you can't answer the point of the post, then you should not be posting.
Yep. Nailed it. Don't be afraid to ruffle feathers. In fact, that's my new favorite thing is feather ruffling.
Feather ruffling?
Mm-hmm.
So especially if you're snuggling a chicken.
Yes. Chickens like hugs if they've been raised well.
They do.
So anyway, for those who were paying attention to the last episode, I put it out there. I didn't know if Serafina would be joining us, but here she is, fat little potato on my couch. And you can see her little tummy puff, which brings me joy because it's nothing but squish.
Yeah. And just like, ruffling feathers, we actually had somebody on our team who posted on LinkedIn about having her cat interrupt her video call with a potential client, and somebody left her a really nasty comment about how that makes her seem really unprofessional and he would never buy from her. And so we really leaned into it and we're like, great, don't buy from us. Never.
Exactly.
Ever.
We've talked about in the past how you should be very clear about who you want to do business with. We are very clear about people who we don't want to work with. We don't want to work with people that have a stick up their butt and they have no compassion for others and they want to pretend that people don't work from home. Yes, we do. It's post-COVID. I mean, relax. You're lucky that any of us are actually wearing clothes, seriously. And have compassion. We have kids that actually, appear in Zoom calls periodically, in internal meetings. It's fine.
Right.
No, that's who we are as a company. That's our standard. And honestly, there's a lot of comfort with this whole authority and trust thing. When you're so comfortable being who you are that you are happy to reject people that don't fit your mold, that actually establishes more authority. These are my terms, baby. Either get in line or get out.
We had a previous episode about when to fire a client. And I was telling Laura this before we got on air, that I had somebody reach out to me and say how helpful and really good that episode was. And I think that speaks to the same thing. We're not trying to sell to everyone. Somebody who served us well in the past is not necessarily serving us well now. And you need to really be clear about that.
Right. Amen to that.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about scarcity and exclusivity, which we were kind of just talking about. Look at that dovetail. That's Julia's favorite world. So scarcity and exclusivity is actually pretty sexy, because that is another thing that makes people want to buy from you. The exclusivity and limited availability of your products or services, it does create urgency. Like when I have said to people, when I'm doing consulting in a one-on-one capacity, there's actually a real material limit to how many clients I can take at any one given time, because I'm a human and I enjoy things like eating and sleeping. And I also get really tired. I don't want to do too much of it. I enjoy the heck out of it and I love it so much. And the level of transformation that we can achieve one-on-one, huge, and it ushers people right over to vision, which is so great. So it's a nice, like, try before you buy thing. But like, there's a limit to that. And the fact that I can only take just so many clients, there's that scarcity and that limited availability. And by the way, the same thing with the agency. We cannot handle onboarding 15 clients at once. We can onboard about 2 per month, and that's about it. So if you're number 3, you're in the queue for next month. And if you really want to get ahead of the queue, just pay us extra. It's fine.
That's the whole FOMO thing. It really works.
It does. I see the sun shining and I have some serious FOMO for going for a walk outside in my sneaks. It's going to happen as soon as we hit stop.
Excellent. I'm excited for
number 4?
Number 4 is commitment and consistency. Encourage small commitments early in the customer journey to encourage and build towards larger ones. So, join the Facebook group. That's a commitment, so that they will be more excited about things later. Follow us on social media, etc. Buy something small so that later they will buy something large. Laura previously talked about funnel hacking. That's one of the key parts about funnels is you get a free thing, then you get a small thing, then you get a big thing. So, what level of commitment are you in on? It's helpful to have a try before you buy, or a really small financial commitment before you really go all in on something expensive and a really high ticket item, because you're building that trust and you're building that evangelism of the brand.
Takes a lot of risk out of it too.
Yep, 100%.
People don't like risk.
Correct.
If you can take on the risk for them, that's when they like you more. So this last one here is social proof. It's important that you leverage social proof through user reviews, influencer endorsements, and community testimonials to enhance your credibility and, oh my God, allure. Haven't seen that word in a while. Does that magazine still exist? Allure?
I don't know.
I'm not for target market.
Me either.
So social proof. This is important. We talked about this in the last episode. Do not believe me when I tell you that we're good. Don't. Believe the people who've done business with us.
Yep.
That's important. And that's really what this is. It helps other people to want to do it. And let's say you're on the phone with somebody, or you're having a Zoom call, or you're in person, and you're thinking to yourself, well, how am I going to leverage social proof? Case studies. Be able to tell a story about a time when you did a thing that got a great result that your prospect is also looking for. Case studies work great too. And if they're like, oh, well, can I speak to so-and-so? Sure. Hopefully you do not leave a trail of bodies and you actually have great wins that you can talk about.
Hopefully.
If you do have a trail of bodies, that is a different problem, and perhaps you need more help and you should call us urgently so we can teach you how to treat your customers.
For real.
Anyway, anything else you want to add?
No, I feel like that was really good, and it was a good wrap up of our 4-episode arc.
Yay. That's me sticking a bow on it. Anyway, thank you so much, Julia. I always appreciate you. Thank you for co-hosting the show with me. Dear listener, we love you, and we would very much love to hear what works for you and what you'd love to learn about next. Just remember that this show is lovingly sponsored by Vision. You can learn more about us at vision-advertising.com. That's vision-advertising.com. If you want to let us know what you want to learn about, hit us up in the contact us page. If you'd like a complimentary marketing assessment or just need somebody to talk to because your sales is driving you nuts, hit us up on the contact page. What I'm driving at here is go to the contact page and start a communication with us, because currently we don't hear your voice and we'd like to change that. Anyway, thank you for being here. Over and out, and we'll see you next time.